morning, students. Welcome to Cradle2Harvard online class. My name is Olafelix Sunday, and I'll be taking you mathematics. Our topic for today is angles in quadrants. Okay? And by the end of this lesson, you should be able to determine the sine, cosine, and tangent ratios of any angle between 0 and 360. Determine the quadrant of a given value of theta. Okay? So this is what quadrant is all about. We have 4 quadrants, and here is your first quadrant, which is within 90 degrees, 0 to 90 degrees. Here is your second quadrant, which is between 0 to 180 degrees. Here is your third quadrant, which is between 0 to 270 degrees. And here is your fourth quadrant, 0 to 360 degrees. Okay? So the trig identities. In the first quadrant, we know that sine theta, which is opposite over hypotenuse, that is y over t, is positive in the first quadrant. You can see whatever value you take here is going to be positive. So theta, sine theta is equal to y over t is positive. Cos theta, which is adjacent over hypotenuse, x over t, which is what we have here, is also positive in the first quadrant. Tan theta, which is opposite over adjacent, is also positive in the first quadrant. Okay? So all the three of them are positive in the first quadrant. Angles in second quadrant. Now, angles in second quadrant, the value of x here is negative, y positive, t is positive. So if you check from here to here is 180, but our value of theta is from here to this line, and by the time you subtract it from 180, you have sine 180 minus theta will give you a value of sine. And here you discover that opposite over hypotenuse is positive. For that singular reason, sine theta is positive. Now, if we consider cos 180 minus theta here, adjacent over hypotenuse. Adjacent here is a negative x over t will give us this, and the value of cos is going to be negative in the second quadrant. Now, tan 180 minus theta is going to be 2r in so-called you have opposite over adjacent. Opposite is y, but adjacent is minus x, and that will give us a negative value of tan theta. So in the second quadrant, sine is positive, cos is negative, tan is negative. Angles in the third quadrant between 180 and 270. If you check your curve from here to this point is 180. Anything in addition to 180 is theta. So what we have here is going to be sine 180 plus theta will give us the value of sine. But here in the third quadrant, let us check what sine looks like here. Now, sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Now, if we check, this is y-axis. Y towards that direction, towards the north, is positive. Coming down the south is negative. So the value of y here is negative. So if we have opposite over hypotenuse, that is y over t, for sine is negative because y is negative. That's why we have sine theta to be negative. Now if we consider cos, which is ka in so-called, we have adjacent over hypotenuse. The adjacent is negative divided by hypotenuse, which is t. By the time you do that, you discover that x is negative, cos will end up giving us a negative value in the third quadrant. Now let's consider tan. Okay, 2r, that is opposite over adjacent. We have a negative y dividing a negative x, that is for tan. Negative y dividing a negative x, By the time you divide that, you have a positive value, and that will make tan theta positive in the third quadrant. So what's the summary here? We have sin theta to be negative in third quadrant, we have cos theta to be negative in third quadrant, and we have tan theta to be positive. So tan theta is the only positive value in the third quadrant. Angles in fourth quadrant are angles between 270 and 360 degrees. If you see what we have here, we have from here to here is almost 360. So if by the time you remove theta from it, you have 360 minus theta for sine, and sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Now your opposite is negative over t, and that will give us a negative value of sine theta, because 360 minus theta is x over t. X over t from car, which is from SOHCAHTOA, which is adjacent over hypotenuse, and it will lead us to a positive value of cos. Now for tan 360 minus theta is TOA from SOHCAHTOA is going to be opposite over adjacent. This is our opposite, this is our adjacent. So opposite is negative over a positive value of x. By the time you divide that, it will give us a negative value of tan. So in the fourth quadrant, sine is negative, cos is positive, tan is negative. So it's only cos that is positive in the fourth quadrant. So in summary, you can see from this table that all of them are positive in the first quadrant, only sine is positive in the second quadrant, only tan is positive in the third quadrant, and the fourth quadrant, only cos that is positive. So A means all the ratios are positive in the first quadrant, S means only sine is positive in the second quadrant, T means only tangent that is positive in the third quadrant, and C means only cosine that is positive in the fourth quadrant. Okay, so for example, if you are given cos theta to be half and you have asked to find the value of theta within these values, then you put cos theta, given that the value of cos theta is half, cos theta is equals to half, theta is half. So for you to find the value of theta here, find the cos inverse of half. The cos inverse of half is 60 degrees from your four-figure table. Now that we've known that the value of theta is 60 degrees, now you check the value here is positive. So where in the quadrant do we have cos to be positive? Cos is positive in the fourth quadrant, the first and the fourth quadrant. This first value is 60 degrees. That can be found in the first quadrant. But the second value of it can be found in the fourth quadrant. So in the fourth quadrant, we know that cos theta is equals to 360 minus theta. So if you now subtract the given theta that we have here already from 360, you are going to get 300. And that will be the second value of cos. So we now have two values for cos that are positive. Cos 60 degrees and cos 300 degrees. Thank you very much. So you are going to do this as your homework. Cos theta is equals to 5 over 8. Now you are asked to find sin theta from this given value and tan theta. Stay safe.